Yeah, I didn't even realize that I had feelings before because I just kept them down for so long and beat myself up about everything that even just realizing what was all going on inside of me and having to deal with those issues instead of using the eating disorder to deal with them was very difficult, but that's what's really helped me, just learning how to deal and learning how to change all those things about myself because I really wasn't even a person before. I just didn't know who I was, didn't know anything about myself. I was just living for others, trying to please them, and so unhappy and just taking everything out of myself.
I know for me, like, going through treatment, they focus on so much stuff, and, you know, one therapist tells you to focus on this, and another tells you to focus on this, and sometimes it feels like you're going in, like, a ton of different directions, but it all, like, it all ends up back to how you feel about yourself, because you can change the behavior, and you can change where you are, or what you're doing, or what kind of structure you have, but, like, you're still with yourself the whole time, and how you feel about yourself during the day, and what you're thinking, and what you're telling yourself, and what leads up to, you know, wanting to binge or wanting to purge or whatever. It's all about how you're feeling about yourself, and everyone relapses, and it's going to happen, and you just have to pick yourself up again and keep going.
Been slow. I know I didn't even realize it for a long time, but people would notice changes, and then especially in group, you know, oh, you're doing this different, or I can't believe you did that, it's something different, and then you start to think about it, and you're like, wow, I really did that, I did that for me, and it's something I never would have done before, or I acted like this, or thought this way, and other people pointing it out really helped me to realize, because all I saw were the major things that I was failing on. I didn't see all the good little progresses I had made. And then I guess I started to realize a big change in my relationships with others and just the way I handled those relationships because they weren't good relationships. But yet in the past I've hung on to them and given away who I was and given everything into it just so I would have somebody. And I was able to see it for what it was, acknowledge it, and then do something about it, take charge, and stand up for myself and believe in myself and just do what I want for the first time ever and put myself first. And it's been a huge step just in changes I've made in relationships with other people even. And I realized who I am and what I want, and I'm willing and ready to go after that now, where in the past I would sacrifice everything just to be perfect or just to be liked or just to be good. Now I'm not. I don't want to settle.
I think it's really hard for me to look back, like, where I was 3 years ago, and, like, you don't notice the gradual change, but when you stop and look back to the beginning of your treatment, when you've come a really long ways, even though, like, you know, I still tell myself I'm doing bad because I still mess up sometimes, and I'm having a hard time, but looking back from where I've come from binging and purging, 5 or 6 times a day, everything I ate, to now where I can go days at a time, weeks at a time sometimes. It's awesome to know that back then when I felt so in control of myself, like, now it's like actual control, like, and a good control. It's like not the I need control over everything, so I'm going to use my food. And it's really cool, and it feels really good to know that, I've gone months at a time where I never even wanted to go months at a time, and now it's like, looking back, that feels really good, and it's like, it's more positive reinforcement when you do well in your treatment, and you look back on the changes.
Anything else?
I just know for me, as far as different treatment options go, I've been an inpatient 2 or 3 times, and I always thought that was the way to go. That was the most intensive kind of treatment, and I think, in some cases that's probably true, but I've heard that the trend is going toward doing it more from an outpatient perspective, and having been here for a couple of months and just noticing the changes in how I think, not just in my behavior, but the way I think, the way I feel about myself, the way I respond to other people and situations in my life, that, an intensive outpatient program, I've had to integrate recovery with my real life. It's very easy to do well in a treatment setting where you don't have the option to binge or purge. Your food is chosen for you. Everything's controlled, and it's a lot easier to do well.
I'm definitely grateful that I have had the opportunity to stay in the outpatient setting and continue my life and get the opportunity to try and get better and fix all of my problems while I continue on in school and just with my regular life.